to find your place in life, you need to get your ducks all in a row. So take some time to understand that life is a race, ooh, for each and every man. Sometimes people will treat you like worn out shoes, but they don't know that you can't lose. Come and be a winner. Be a winner now. Now you're a winner. Oh, baby. Oh, come and be a winner.
All right, we are back. Day 4 of CITIUS MAG live from Eugene, Oregon. Chris Chavez joined by Eric Jenkins, my co-host for today. And we've decided that at this point, like, if you make the U.S. Olympic team, you always have a seat here on our set to join us for a chat and to celebrate in qualifying for the Paris Games. So today we are joined by one of the first people to do it at these trials, NAU's star, and now we just put out the news on Instagram before this, an Adidas athlete, Nico Young. Nico, first off, congrats on all of this, just making the team, signing that contract, lots of excitement right now.
Yeah, thank you. It's been an insanely exciting weekend.
We sat down with your brothers the day right after you made the team, and when they made it up here, they were just like, oh, I mean, like, we haven't even gotten a chance to, like, really see him and talk to him. How emotional of a past, 72 hours has this all been?
Yeah, it's been crazy. I mean, from finishing the race till now, I kind of have been doing stuff nonstop. So got to see Lex and Leo yesterday, though, so that was pretty great. But it hasn't really set in yet.
How did you feel like the race was going to play out? Did you think that, had you planned for a lot of different race strategies? Like, did you think that it was going to be kind of a slower race with, hard move at the end?
It was a weird one.
Did it play out? Were you a little surprised by that?
Actually, I kind of feel like it played out sort of what I thought was going to happen.
Okay.
I guess Woody and I were talking about it beforehand, and we thought it was going to be moderate. I think we thought that Connor was going to run from the front. And then after that, I guess it kind of just played out how it did. And if you could hang on, you hung on to the pace. So, yeah.
Breaking down a 10K exactly, like, it just however many laps it is, like, it's a long time out there. We were talking to Connor about this, sort of just like how you can get lost in sort of your own thoughts when it's as high stakes as an Olympic trials. Like, what are you thinking about sort of in that early positioning? Because it was really like the contenders up toward the front of the race, with Connor doing just a lot of the work for a bit. Yeah.
I mean, I definitely think in a 10K, there's a lot of, I was trying to stay as relaxed as I could for as long as possible.
That's that Mike Smith, like, go to sleep mentality.
Yeah. Having it only been my second track 10K, I was like, I know this is not going to be like the Sound Running 10, so it's going to be something new regardless. So I think I did a good job of staying relaxed for a lot of that race. Yeah.
The Sound Running 10 was like, I mean, obviously everyone went into that one just knowing this is an Olympic standard chase. You had, just come off of like the NCAA indoor championships, and so a little bit probably more tired than the pros that were in that race. Still running that time, very difficult on the body. How did that race sort of compare to this one? Because watching that race, like, because of the acceleration in those last couple laps, like, it did look to me that, like, you and Drew were just like having the biggest pain faces with like 800 meters to go.
Yeah, I mean, it was very difficult there towards the end. I think I definitely felt physically a lot better for the Sound 10.
Really?
I just think this being like the Olympic trials and the conditions weren't as good, I was going to feel worse. But it was good enough, I guess.
Yeah.
Would you say you were more anxious or nervous? Like, how does this compare to the NCAA championships that you've run? And how would you say your mentality was?
I guess I tried to frame it pretty similar to NCAA's. I think I've got a lot of great practice racing throughout my 4 years in the NCAA, especially this indoors at NCAA's and the outdoor 5K that I just ran. So I kind of was trying to keep the same mentality and competing like that. Yeah.
That was one of the things I remember just sort of at, the track at New Balance in Boston when I was able to find Coach Mike Smith after the race. One of the things that one of the other reporters asked was just sort of like, for Nico to win 2 titles, this is big for his confidence. And like, it was something that had been evading you for such a long time. Does the pressure of the trials after finding that success at the NCAA level kind of, lower a little bit, or was it weird because like at the same time you came into this as like one of the few guys with the standards, so there was a little bit of an expectation to try and make this team?
Yeah, I definitely feel like having that success indoors and the 2 titles helped me gain my confidence in my ability to close down a race and kind of run a race in any way. Like if it was a fast race, a slow race, I'm equally as confident. So I felt like that kind of for the rest of this outdoor season, and that definitely helped me not be as concerned as like the gun went off, that I was going to be able to close well off of any kind of race. Yeah.
You've only run. That was your second track 10K. You're 2 for 2.
Yeah.
Collegiate record the first time. You just made the Olympic team. Do you like the track 10K? Or do you still feel like you're more of a 5K guy? Like, yeah, what's going on in your head out there?
Yeah. I guess I would have to say that I like the 5K more just because it's half the length. But
there's few people who are like, I love the 10K.
No, I mean, I don't know. I definitely I think I'm better at it, so I'll keep doing it. But
I mean, you're going to be forced to keep doing it. You keep running sub 27 and making these teams. You're a 10K guy.
Yeah. I do like how getting out doesn't really matter a whole lot, and there's less pressure for that type of thing. So I don't know. There's ups and downs. Yeah.
Throughout the season, I guess, what did you take away from? You dropped down into the shorter distances often throughout this spring. I mean, what was the intent there when you sit down with Coach Mike Smith to kind of plan out, like, all right, are you one of those guys who asks, like, what is the benefit of doing this race? And like, it was fun, I guess, like at the Big Sky Conference Championship, just how it's not it's not as high stakes as anything like an NCAA championships or an Olympic trials. And, the pressure's off, but at the same time, you're looking to get better at the speed stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of the faster stuff is something that I've struggled with kind of before this year. So I kind of wanted to overcompensate and run a lot of 800s and 1500s and mile indoors and all of that to work on my speed. Maybe we ran one too many, but I think, I'm very confident in my speed and that ability now that I think it was really beneficial to run those races.
And I guess, we were talking about this when we were walking over to the set, just sort of like how you've been at NAU, you did your 4 years. Did anything in the program change, especially in this last year? Yes, you guys have been so successful, but I think the success at the shorter stuff has been just kind of underscored a bit more this year, which is sort of you and Colin running really well at the 1500, where you guys are dominant come cross country, and the 5K and 10K success, there's so much to back that up. But at the 1500, 800 level, was what changed this year?
Yeah, I mean, I've been working pretty hard on sprint mechanics and all of those types of things. I think I've come a long way in my ability to change paces at the end of a race, and I think focusing on the shorter distances for me allows me to run better at the longer ones. Like indoors, I didn't run anything over a 5K and only ran 2 5Ks, and then I raced the sound running 10, and I felt really great during that. So I think for me that works really well. Yeah.
You had such an amazing year this whole year. Was there something that just kind of clicked at the beginning of this season, or is it just, you matured as a runner and you've been able to stack on more training, or has there been, a bit of a mentality shift?
Yeah, I feel like I could attribute that to a few different things. I think I had a really great 3K at BU in December that boosted my confidence. Part of it was definitely confidence. Another part was just training more and then taking off some of that cross country mileage and running some, like I was saying, faster workouts and shorter races with some less volume has definitely helped me get better. I think I've just had a greater ability to access the fitness that I already had this season. So, yeah.
The thought of now like the Olympics. Like when we chatted with your brothers, it was like this isn't a thing that you guys like actively talked about growing up. You've been in the spotlight because of your success since high school, and so it is cool to see sort of that trajectory has, panned out, and it has sort of like this storybook, not ending, but like the beginning to this new chapter of now competing at the global stage. How do you has your mind kind of wrapped yourself around just sort of like the whole story in general and taking a step back and being like, wow, like everything's worked out so far?
Yeah, I think I'll need some time to take a step back and look at all of it. But if I remember kind of like how I felt coming out of high school and to the college experiences, I kind of didn't see how it could get better than that. And then it did, and it got way better. So I'm super excited to start this professional chapter and kind of see where that will take me. Yeah.
And you have some awesome resources just sort of like within that training group with Woody, even Abdi Hamid having made, world's teams in the past. Is that anything, and I know how close you guys are outside of just like, I know maybe sometimes the workouts don't line up together, but you constantly are in the same orbit and circle. What have those guys kind of shared with you about those experiences that they've had like at the world stage? Because it is another level up to think like, I'm going to be competing against Yomif Kajelcha and like Salomon Barega, guys who have, that high level pedigree at the world stage.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that's what's super valuable about having teammates like Abdi Hamid and Luis, who I was on NAU's team with, and now they've transitioned to the pro scene under the same coach that I have, and seeing the success that they have kind of shows me that can be me as well. And I see them all the time, so they're constantly like spitting advice when they think it's appropriate. So I ask them questions. Woody's been fantastic with that. I warmed up with him for the 10K. He's been a great influence on me as well. Yeah.
I forget if I asked you this when we did the podcast together a couple months back, but it was like your Mount Rushmore of NAU runners. Do you have it? Like who would it be? Who would you put on that top 4? You obviously have a place there. So there's 3 other spots. And I know it's hard for people to like name themselves, but you get 3 because you are one of the faces on there.
Okay, for sure. I guess from like the people who were on the team from when I was on the team, I would put Luis and Abdi Hamid on there.
One more.
Oh God, I don't know. I mean, I guess I got to put like maybe like Matt Baxter.
Yeah,
so,
you need the homage to like one of the OGs. I was on the team with
him, but
Lopez. Well, he said Lopez wasn't on the team with him.
Yeah. He's not of the Lopez generation.
Neither was Matt, but I don't know. These are like the ones that are coming to my head right now. But I don't know. I could put I'd put 20 people on that if I could.
Oh yeah, like if you guys had to do like, I don't know. This is a nice little fun thought experiment. If you pulled, the Oregon top 7, who would you put on your top 7 versus his top 7? How does that race shake out? All time. All right, so you name your Oregon top 7.
Okay, wow.
For cross, we're putting them on a cross country course.
For cross. Let's see. We're gonna go Galen. We're gonna go. Mac, help me out for God's sake. Who? Ed, of course.
Yeah.
Who?
He's on the tower.
Ed Peskedra. Rudy Chapa.
Okay, so we're 5. Free doesn't make the team.
People I got pretty fine. Dane can make the team.
All right, that's 6.
Keep going.
Yeah. And
you got one more.
Controversial, but we're gonna have to say Alberto.
All right, so that's 7.
Centro is not a. Look, Centro did have a top 10 cross, but
doesn't make the team.
He doesn't make the cut.
Alternate.
Yeah, he can make the travel squad.
Okay. All right, so that's his top 7. Your top 7.
Well, I gotta add those guys, and then I definitely I should have put like for sure Drew, because he's been my main training partner.
Yeah.
So and then I guess Lopez.
Lopez, yes, that's
Jordy. Yeah, there's so many. This is so difficult. Dang.
Tyler
yeah.
Day.
I could put Tyler, and Jordy. I don't know what we're even at, but I feel like also Brody Hasty deserves some recognition because he pulls it together every single time somehow. So I don't know.
I think I think I give them the edge. I think I give NAU the edge in just sort of like the all-star battle there.
Okay.
All right.
right.
Yeah, sorry, Eric.
That's all right. I wasn't on the team.
All right, Nico. So between now and I guess the 5K coming up, I mean, what do you have to do to get ready for that? It's such an emotional, high after the game, after making the team, that now sort of you have to recalibrate again.
Yeah, I feel like there's sort of like can be a benefit too to having success in that race and going into the 5K, because I feel like there's a lot less pressure.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to like maintain as much of that as I can. But yeah, I guess I haven't talked about it a whole lot with my coach. We're trying to, like I said, like take a few days to recover from this race.
Yeah, now you can just go out.
Yeah.
You already made the team. You can just go out, enjoy it all, have fun.
Yeah.
No pressure for you.
For sure.
Aside from competing, is there anything else you're looking forward to at the Olympics? There's a lot of cool stuff that, I mean, the opening ceremonies, if you
Yeah.
get the chance to go to that, going to the other sports, I mean, all the stuff, the Ralph Lauren apparel that you get for the opening ceremonies, there's so much to come.
Yeah, I mean, I guess a few things. Like, I'm really excited to go to Paris. I've never been there. My family will be there, which will be cool. I'm really excited to represent Adidas now. I guess, and represent my country.
Yeah.
It's gonna. There's too many things. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Nico, we appreciate you stopping by. Congratulations on everything from the pro signing to making the team. Are you gonna get the rings tattooed after the games?
I said I would. So.
Where do you know where?
No, I don't know where.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe like my ribs or something. I don't know. I
Okay.
feel like that hurt pretty bad.
Do you have any other tattoos?
I have one tattoo.
Okay.
Yeah, on my wrist. That's
Nice.
it. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's one of the cool perks. All right, awesome. Well, Nico, thanks for joining
Yeah, congrats,
us.
Nico.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back with our next guest, Kendall Ellis, shortly.
Seems like you've been wasting time trying to find your place in line. You need to get your ducks all in a row. So take some time to understand that life is a race. Ooh, for each and every man. Sometimes people will treat you like worn out shoes, but they don't know that you can lose. Come and be a winner. Be a winner now. Now you're a winner. Oh, baby. Oh, come and be a winner.
All right, we are back here, CITIUS MAG live from Eugene, Oregon. We're joined by our next guest, Payton Otterdahl, who just qualified for his second Olympic Games in the shot put with a third-place finish. And first off, I'm a little weary of just kind of the seating situation. We had Josh Awatunde on our show 2 years ago, and I looked so small, so I have no idea what it looks like on screen right now. But that's what I love about this sport, is just sort of like, you know, the many different shapes and sizes that comprise this U.S. Olympic team. So congratulations, a second team.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on. Yes, that is one of the great parts about our sport, is no matter your body type, you can come out and there is an event that you can compete in.
Totally. So for the men's shot put competition, it was thrilling this time around. You had a front row seat to all of it. I guess take us through sort of your experience, just each one of those rounds that went.
Yeah, I mean, the U.S. men's shot put right now is just so strong. We knew that it was going to be a super deep competition heading into this, and you know that's exactly what it turned out to be. It was kind of made a little bit more exciting than usual because you got Joe, the world leader, coming into the meet, Ryan, world record holder, who's been hurt all season. Like, you don't know what kind of Ryan's going to show up. You're knowing that he's him and he's going to show up and throw something big regardless. And those two go huge round one anyway. So it was a very exciting competition. I made it a little too exciting for my friends and family on my behalf with kind of a slow start to getting going, but it was awesome. Got the job done, and we're excited to go on to Paris. We're sending a very strong team.
Yeah. Of course, there was the sweep, what was it, 2 years ago in the men's shot at Worlds. This time around, take me through, I guess, like your sort of assessment of like the global landscape. Leonardo Fabri is like throwing amazing so far this season, but you know, looking at the greater landscape of the shot put, like how do you size it up and how does the U.S. compare?
Well, I can tell you that I'm more nervous for the trials, or was more nervous than I will be for Paris.
Joe has said that before when he made his team back in 2012 and 2016. It's just sort of like that. This is the one where it's like if you mess up, like this is the high stakes one. And then once you go out there, you feel good. The
trials is an absolute gauntlet, and if you're looking in the top 10, the top list of world shot put right now, I think it's something like 7 are Americans. So this is the hard part. Paris, it's going to just, qualifying for the team is what has everybody nervous. Now we can have fun, let loose, and try to get that American sweep.
Yeah. In the last couple of years, what is, Joe and Ryan have just been like the staples. You were made the last Olympic team. What kind of has changed in the men's shot put in the United States that everyone just kind of leveled up year over year, where you look at the marks it takes to make the team, it only gets tougher?
It's kill or be killed in the men's shot put. You either gotta elevate your game or you're going to get left behind. There's just too much talent in this country. I mean, if we're being real, we need to send all those top 8 guys to the Olympics for the U.S., but unfortunately we only get 3, so
that's what the Ultimate Championships are coming along for. Yes. I don't know what the exact stipulations are going to be, because like there's so many events where I feel like the U.S., if the Ultimate Championships end up being like U.S. sweeps left and right, I'm sure they'll alter the rules, but the shot put is one of those events where just like we're so deep.
It is, and in certain events like the men's shot, we are leaving behind some of the best athletes in the world, and that's what's interesting about this Ultimate Championships coming up, because if they're sending the top 16, at least in the men's shot, it's going to be half Americans. We're truly getting the highest level of competition then. We're always leaving behind some of the top people at every major from the U.S., so it's going to be really exciting. I am super excited to see what that's going to look like, truly having the pinnacle of a competition that we can have for our sport.
For you, the 6 best marks of your career, I think, like to open up the season, right? Is that stat right?
Yeah. Every meet so far has been over my personal best from last year.
And what's clicking so well this year in particular?
Just technical cues. This sport is something that you get better at with age. I mean, if you're looking at Ryan and Joe, I'm still the young guy compared to them, and they continue to raise the bar going into their 30s. I'm 28, so I'd like to think that the best is still in front of me. And it's a very technical event. You just need the reps to get better. So just technical improvements. And then 2022, I'm coming off of a hip surgery. So last year was kind of testing the waters of that. I lost a good part of my off season because of the recovery from the hip surgery and the rehab. This year, I'm able to have a full off season and year of growth and really keep pushing the boundaries, being mostly injury free.
This is a track and field fanatics show, so I want to get technical. I want to hear some of the ins and outs and these minor tweaks that you may have made over the last couple of years. Like, speak thrower to me, because if it does make sense to me, I'm sure there's people out there who are interested in some of these technical cues. I could see what are those accounts like Throwers Universe and all that stuff, clipping things. So what are some of the adjustments?
It's just very small stuff at this point. My throw personally, the things that I've been working on are mostly setting up the throw properly out of the back, because if you screw up the back, it screws up everything in the front, especially for me. So properly setting it up out of the back, getting over my left leg, not cutting that edge on the rotation. You want to load it properly around the edge before you come in. And then in the front, staying on the shot put. Sometimes I have a bad habit of jabbing at the shot, quick jab to the hand. That's kind of how the trials competitions went for me. Pulling away with that left side. I don't want to pull because that's energy going not into the shot put. At the end of the day, we're trying to put everything into that shot put, no wasted energy. That's what makes a great throw. So if I'm pulling my left side away, that's energy that's not moving through the shot put. So that's one of the more things to work on, and it's just very small stuff that most people have like no idea. They just think like we go out there and just hit it as hard as we can, but the reality is I like to compare shot put. It's like golf, one small thing, because so much is happening in such a short amount of time. One small thing that screws up, it's going to affect the rest of the throw. It's just a fraction of a second. So it's
our producer
interesting.
Mac loves the technical stuff, so he's got a question.
Yeah, I love this stuff. Do you take anything from other throwers? And if you don't, how hard is it to stay true to your own technique and your own form? Because I'm sure watching, likes of Joe or Ryan and seeing maybe some of the things that they do, you're like, oh, maybe I can do that. But if you start doing that, can you get away from what's best for you?
Yeah, for sure. I'm always looking at other throwers, because at the level that we are as pros, everybody's doing something really, really well. And it's taking those things from other people. Now, I can't go out there and try to replicate Joe's form, as a mirror image, because we have different body types. He is way stronger than me. I'm taller than him. My levers are longer than his. Same with Ryan. He's bigger than me and he's taller than me, so his levers are even stronger than me. But I can look at certain things of their throws and be like, yeah, I can try to incorporate that into my own, and try to piece that in, work on that in practice. And if it clicks, it clicks. If it doesn't, that's something I move away from. So yeah, always taking little bits and pieces from all these other pro throwers.
When you compared it to golf earlier, I know for a fact Joe loves to get out on the links. You a big golfer too?
I can tell you I'm an awful golfer. and that's funny, because I know that a lot of these pro shot putters, they are good golfers.
Yeah.
But I am not one of them. I can hit the ball far, but I cannot hit it straight. So that's kind of my issue. My short game's not bad, though. I will say that. I don't play too often, but my short game is pretty good. I'm a good chipper. I'm an okay putter. I'm a terrible driver.
Where else does sort of your strength and just like the throwing skill set come out? Like outside of the shot put, like what are some other areas of athletics or life that you're just like, all right, this is where my form comes in handy?
Yeah, I would say it's actually pretty close to golf. It's frisbee golf.
Oh,
disc
really?
Golf. That's more my speed. I like throwing things, so I'm not too good with a club. So throwing things, that's all my style, and I do like disc golf. That's one of my favorite, just like physical activities to do outside of training and track.
And on the mental side of just sort of this sport, it's fascinating because for the past, what is it now, like almost a whole decade of just Ryan's dominance at the top, Joe being there since 2013 as well. That like these are the two guys who've just like it's been hard to knock them off of any sort of U.S. team. How do you mentally approach like something like the trials? Like I know the elite athlete thinks I can win. Like you want to put yourself in contention to win. It's hard when those are the two guys you have to beat. you don't frame it as like a battle for third, or how do you approach a competition like this where sometimes anything can happen? There are surprises at the trials.
Yeah, I mean, we see upsets all the time in this sport. Anything can happen to anybody on a given day. Those two are just on a whole nother level. It's kind of motivating to me because they're number 1 and 2 of all time. They are the best 2 in the sport, and they're active and they're in their prime right now. I, as a up-and-comer, well, I wouldn't say up-and-comer, but, as a guy who's just a little bit of a peg down from them, it's super motivating. I want to beat those guys more than anything, because if I am able to beat them, I'm beating an absolute legend of the sport. Mm-hmm. So that's all the motivation that I need to continue chasing them and hopefully just get lucky on any given day.
The 2019 World Championships in Doha is arguably like the greatest competition ever. What would have to happen, I guess, like in Paris to try and top something like that?
Honestly, it's definitely a possibility that Paris could be deeper than Doha. We're sending just such a superstar squad from the USA, plus Fabry, Tom Walsh, Rajendra. You can't count any of these guys out from other countries. We could see 5-6 guys over 22 at the final.
Wow.
There, which has not happened. I can't say exactly what is the meet with the most guys over 22 meters. I want to say it might be that 2019 meet. I think it had 4 or 5, but we might see that eclipse this year.
Wow. So, obviously you see in, at the stadium, all the cameras following around the sprinters for their own, Netflix documentary series. I'm of the thought process that I think like the throwers would make like a very interesting series as well. Just sort of like all the different, backgrounds. You've got obviously the footage of Ryan out there fishing, Joe being a dad, and training from with the setup that he has in his own sort of backyard. If the camera started following you, what would your sort of like training look like? And then your day in the life, yeah.
Day in the life, I'd say probably the most interesting thing about me is I have a lot of pets.
Okay.
I'm kind of like the Sandy Morris of men's shot put. I have 8 snakes.
Wow.
A gecko, a lizard, a dog. I think that's all I have, but that's always changing. But yeah, I have tons of pets. That's kind of my big time hobby outside of track.
When did this all start? When was the first snake, and then what told you I need 7 more?
Well, it started at a young age. Like when I was a kid, I grew up in Minnesota. My family had a cabin in Wisconsin, and we would go there almost every single weekend. And I'd just spend the entire weekend, flipping over fallen logs, or walking the shore of the lake, trying to catch whatever I can. And my parents encouraged me to do it. So once I kind of grew up and stopped looking for things to catch and had money, I could kind of get some cooler stuff and give them really great enclosures in my home. Like, I don't know, I just get a lot of satisfaction from building a great enclosure for my pets, and something that, like, watching them interact with the environment that I made for them. I just enjoy that.
I love that. You come from a throws family. Like, what has that kind of been like for this to have been something that you've grown up with, and at the same time, like, a meet like this when you make the team, and what is sort of that family celebration like?
Well, it's great. I have 2 little brothers, and I say little, but they're bigger than me. I'm 6'4", 307 pounds, and I'm the runt of the litter.
Oh my
gosh. I have the middle brother, Trevor. He's 6'6", not quite as heavy as me because he was more of a hammer thrower specialist. And then the youngest brother, Max, he's 6'9", and he's about 315 right now. So, and then I also have a cousin who's 6'7". He wasn't a thrower; he was a basketball player. But I'm the small one in my family. So, being able to just kind of lead as an example for my little brothers is super motivating. One of them just graduated. He's no longer throwing, but Max is still a student at the University of Nebraska who has really high hopes of continuing to compete post-collegiate. And I just want to set the bar high for them. They don't compete against me maybe head-to-head right now, but I know that they were always competing against the me that was the same age as them. So Max is always chasing the 4th year Payton in college. He's trying to beat those marks, or the 5th year Payton. And I'm trying to make it as hard as possible for him to beat me at that age.
Who cooks at Thanksgiving? Because that's a lot of food to make.
It is a lot of food. I know that the grocery bill for my parents skyrockets whenever we're all home at the holidays, and we eat heavy. So it's definitely hard for my parents when we come home. I know that they saved quite a bit of money once we all went off to college.
The New York Times did that feature a couple years back when it was like following Joe and Ryan when they were in town for the Milrose games, and it made a big deal about just sort of like the amount of food that they ate. I think they actually like went to a restaurant and just like, you know, listed out everything that they had. Or what's your sort of diet like when it comes to in the bulk of training?
I don't do anything like counting calories or any of that.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that I'm not like feeling hungry ever. So lots of snacks. I try to eat about 5 meals a day. I used to kind of be like, all right, I'll eat 3 huge meals a day. Snack is needed. But now I've kind of tried to spread it out, get more meals in a day, maybe not feel like absolutely stuffed and bloated after a meal, but then eat again in 2 hours, that sort of thing. But yeah, just making sure that I don't have my tummy rumbling because I got to stay well nourished.
Yeah, I think one of the best things is the lunch boxes that I guess like the throwers bring out like during competition. What's in yours?
I can't say that I've ever brought out a food in competition besides the small snack, but I don't like to feel weighted down when I'm throwing. I like to feel a little bit hungry when I'm competing because that just makes me feel like I'm locked in. I'm hungry for a good competition. So I don't usually bring too much food to it, but I always bring lunch to practice to eat in between my throwing session and weights. So whatever that is that I'm cooking that week is what I bring with me.
From the stands, just sort of like, you talk about that actual sort of like hunger for good competition. Like the fans really get into, the throws here inside Hayward Field because it's so up close. And one of the things that stood out to me about the 2022 World Championships is just seeing sort of like Ryan makes a big throw and then Joe is kind of like on the side and he's doing those sprint outs I think that he does, like just to kind of like, I don't know, get fired up. What are you sort of like when you're at your most intense in competition? Is it more internalized? Are you doing stuff like Joe's, full blast sprints?
Mostly internalized for me.
Yeah.
I don't do anything like that. Just usually I'll take like one dry run, full throw footwork outside of the ring off to the side somewhere. And if that feels good, then I feel like I'm dialed in. But other than that, it's mostly internal, just trying to stay relaxed. I do better if I'm not too wound up. If I'm relaxed and having fun, that's usually when my best comes out.
And then everyone can have, their big in practice sort of, with the distance runners, like your fastest rep in practice or fastest 400. I mean, do you have like a really memorable throw that is a practice, like a crazy practice throw that's out there, or has it all? Do you find a way to make it translate just in competition?
I usually add quite a bit of distance to competition for my training. But yeah, we throw different weights in training.
Yeah,
I throw everything from the 20-pound shot all the way down to the 14. Throw those lighter weights for overspeed when we're getting in the season. I throw the heavier in the off season to build that strength. But I have my PRs listed for every single one of those weights. So anytime I set a new PR in training, I'm always super happy to go into my notes app and update whatever that mark is.
A lot of updating this year?
I've updated every one this year so far. So
I love that. All right, one of our summer interns, his name's Paul Hoff-Mahoney. We call him Paulie Throws, big throws guy. He, sent in a couple questions, and one of them was actually very funny. The photo on your Wikipedia page, have you ever seen it?
Sadly, I have, yes.
So it's you dressed up as Riley Dolezal. What's the story behind this?
Well, that had to have been my 4th year of college when I was growing my hair out long. And I needed a good idea for Halloween that year. So Riley Dolezal, many-time world championship team member for Team USA, many-time U.S. champ. He trained at NDSU where I went to college, and I just showed up to practice one day dressed as him, and he was there. And someone took my picture of me holding the javelin.
Yeah. In the USA kit and everything.
Yeah, and actually I know who put that as my...
Oh, you do?
Yeah, that my buddy frickin' made an account on Wikipedia so he could update and mess with my Wikipedia page, and he put that on there. And he probably could have used some less flattering pictures. I'm sure he's got plenty of embarrassing ones. I should be happy that he used that one, but I'm waiting please, if anyone is out there, update my Wikipedia page. Update my picture, my information on there. It needs an update. Please, I'm begging you. I don't know how to do that.
All right, permission granted for someone to use the CITIUS MAG photos to update the Wikipedia page for Payton over here. The final question that Paul sent in was, how is Payton Otterdahl in Paris going to be different from Payton Otterdahl in Tokyo?
I've done a lot of growth since then. A lot has changed in those 3 years. I would say that at the trials in 2021, I wasn't supposed to make the team necessarily. I think I came into the meet ranked 5th or something like that, and managed to throw a personal best at that meet to make the Olympics. And I hadn't thrown a PR in 2 years since college. So I usually tell people, I kind of just got lucky and put together a throw. And then I was just kind of taking in the whole experience. The Olympics was my ultimate dream, to just be at the Olympics. So I was soaking everything in Tokyo. My technique wasn't, where it should have been going into that meet. So I didn't have the best meet. Ended up finishing 10th. But this time around, I've done a lot of growth as a thrower. I understand my throw much more. I know how to make technical corrections, if my coach might not be there. And I just feel overall a lot more confident. So this time around, I'm feeling confident going into the Olympics. I want to do some damage there. I'm not just there to experience it this time. I want to have fun and do something there.
I got one more question for you. Where do you see your biggest gains to make are over the next 4 years? Where do you think that you can grow the most and really push your throws out further?
I would say mostly on the technical side. There's always things to work on. There's always something that you can do on the technical side to be better. And I still see, even on a PR throw, I can still see things that need work. So that's probably the biggest realm that I could improve on. But also on the physical side too, in the weight room, I could be stronger. Ryan and Joe, they're way stronger than me. So if I can get a little bit stronger while increasing the technique, I think that the distance will go up.
And how much time does that take to improve in the weight room like that? We all see their lifting videos and whatnot, and Joe, when you guys were at UCLA, I think was causing a scene inside of the student gym there. Is that just like a really slow process of gaining that strength in the gym?
It takes an off season. You can make some huge gains in the off season, especially in the weight room. Obviously, once we're in season, we're trying to peak and taper. Let's do the slow taper throughout the season for the important meets. But it takes a good off season, and honestly, and at least in my case, I can say it takes being healthy. Usually, I'll be pretty strong coming off the off season, but once the throws start ramping up, we can get pretty strong as throwers if we're only throwing. Then you add all the twisting and crazy positions of throwing in. That's, at least in my case, that's usually where the injuries show up. So staying healthy, continuing to build the weight room progress, I think would really help for that.
One thing I was wondering when you were kind of sharing sort of even your own sort of progression within the sport was, what was sort of and talking about how you've got your younger brothers who are kind of chasing, your former self. Was there, now you're with ASICS, you're signed, professional athlete there. Everyone knows kind of the field events and the throws can sometimes be sort of that area where there's a lot of athletes who don't have those sponsorships, and it takes a lot of their own sort of financial resources to make that Olympic dream and to just simply chase it. Was there a moment where you said, okay, this is what I want to do professionally, and I'm going to go after it no matter what, that despite some of the early challenges that a shot putter might face?
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely hard in the realm of sponsorships. I know that, I don't know how far the world rankings go in events like the 100, 1500, the distance events, where athletes are sponsored, into the 50s and 60s in the world rank. It took me, I'm world rank 5, and I just signed with ASICS. I know athletes that are in the top 10 right now that are unsponsored, top 15 unsponsored, and it is hard financially. So it really is kind of crazy how men's shot is just so elevated right now when there is not much financial backing for us. Who knows what heights it could reach if we had the backing and the interest from the bigger companies like the other events do. But yeah, it is interesting to see what could be. We're hoping that changes in the near future.
Yeah, and obviously one of the buzzy topics so far coming into these Olympic trials is that, we're seeing this great investment into track. I left off and field because that's how it's kind of been framed, with just sort of Michael Johnson's Grand Slam track and then Alexis Ohanian's, all women's meet that is just sort of, 6 events in September. And a lot of the athletes are getting asked about it, just sort of in the mix zone, as to like, what are, your thoughts to being left out? And, Joe had some pretty strong remarks that were not, as harsh as some of the other athletes are going at these new concepts. But Joe was like, I applaud what Michael's doing, and, I want to see it succeed, and hopefully it leads to a trickle down. But, for him, he's like, he'd love to see some of the throwers, go off and do some of the strongman stuff. And he's been, familiar with that scene for a little bit without having like actually competed, but because that crowd does understand, some of the technique and the ins and outs of shot put and what you guys do in training. What are your sort of thoughts as to like, what could the shot put do while, all this stuff is happening on the track side of things, but, for you guys to really find your own sort of, finding a place that is awarding that much prize money, it's a long ways away, but where do the throws turn to now?
I honestly don't know. That's a tough one. I don't know if it's an exposure thing, like maybe if we just need to be given the chance that some of these other places have. I don't think that it's that the throws are boring necessarily.
They're not.
I just think that maybe we don't have the exposure, just the opportunity to get out there. I know we have a lot of characters. Like, we know that everybody loves the sprinters' personalities and the runners' personalities. Everyone loves that. We have just as many among the throwers if they're just given the chance to have a voice out there and kind of get a little bit of attention. That could definitely be there. Yeah, but yeah, like dipping into the world of strongman, we know how popular that is. Strength sports are insanely popular. There just kind of needs to be a crossover episode between the track and field throws and strongmen. We could just as easily host, a shot put competition at, the Arnold Classic or at these strongman competitions just off to the side. Heck, I do it outside the building, just on the street outside. I think that would draw a huge crowd. Also getting just, the common man involved too would be cool. I don't think people can conceptually realize how heavy a 16-pound ball is. Like, if you go to a bowling alley, take the biggest bowling ball they have there is 16 pounds, and then you condense it into 129 millimeters. That's heavy, and people don't realize that. So maybe giving them a chance to really see that. I did an indoor meet at the marathon trials in 2021 in Atlanta, and they let people sign a waiver. I think it was after the comp. It'd be even better if they did it before the comp so people can really realize it. But after the comp, they let people sign a waiver, come out and throw the shot put. And people were just like, oh my gosh, like, we had no idea it was this heavy. And they got a whole new respect for what we do as athletes. So just let the common person come out and just handle a shot put before we throw. That right there would give them a newfound respect for it.
Oh, I 100% agree. I think when we had Val Allman and Coach Zeb on our show last year, we had them basically take one look at us. Like, what do you think we could throw in the discus? And under, Coach Zeb's training, like, how far could we make improvements in about, like, well, I think we said 6 months and then a year. And, it was a really fun thought experiment. So look at me now. How far do you think I could throw? These are twigs.
I think that you could maybe throw the shot put, the 16-pound shot put.
Yeah.
I'll give you 15 feet.
All right, I'll take it. That's 15 feet longer than I thought I'd be able to throw it. 15 feet. Yeah, probably. No shot? No shot. Max says no shot.
I'm saying no shot. We have to actually go do this.
I really want to do this.
We
at
have
some
to go
point.
do this.
Especially, we'll be working with ASICS at the Olympics. Maybe we might film a video where you coach me up. Yeah, I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Well, Payton, I appreciate you stopping by. Congratulations on making the team. Lots of exciting stuff ahead. What do you have to do now, I guess, like between, what is it? We've got 5-6 weeks until Paris. Like, what does training look like?
Well, enter a little bit more load. You know, we have to peak a little bit for this one to move on. So enter a little bit of a load phase and then hit another peak for the Paris Olympics. Obviously, work on those technical things that are still a work in progress. Not really get any stronger at this point. In you know, those 6 weeks time, there's not a lot of gains that can be made, but we can kind of enter a heavier cycle and then re-peak for it to try to be at our best.
Awesome. Well, best of luck in the training, and thanks for stopping by to, you know, our little CITIUS MAG pop-up right above Prince Puckler's Ice Cream. Go get some ice cream. Like,
Yeah.
it's a free ice cream hour, I think, right now for a
really?
couple more minutes. So,
Well, let's see if the hour, we got about 45 seconds
I'm
till
sure
the
if you
hour's up.
show him the tattoo and let him know, I think you'll get a comp.
Well, I might have to
or
do
just
that.
tell him it's on us. Yeah, yeah,
Might have to do that.
yeah. Awesome. Appreciate it, Payton.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. All right, we'll be back soon with Matt Wilkinson. Kendall Ellis will be joining us. She's just going through team processing right now, which takes a couple hours, and we'll be back shortly.
Seems like you've been wasting time trying to find your place in life. You need to get your ducks. Seems like you've been wasting time trying to find your place in life. You need to get your ducks all in a row. So take some time to understand that life is a race. your ducks all in a row. So take some time to understand that life is a race. Ooh, for each and every man. Sometimes people we treat you like worn out shoes, but they don't know that you can't lose. Come and be a winner. Be a winner now. Now you're a winner. Oh, baby. Oh, come and be a winner.
We're back, CITIUS MAG live from Eugene, and we've got another fresh Olympian with us, Matt Wilkinson of Dark Sky Distance. Well, Mission Run Dark Sky Distance. I'm sorry, I gotta get the full name in
Under
there.
Armour Mission Run.
There we
Dark
go.
Sky.
Yeah, you
oh
messed
my
up twice.
gosh, man.
There
You know
you
what?
go.
I'm walking off the set. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Have you slept?
A little bit,
Yeah.
couple hours, but you know, there's a couple strong hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, you only make your first Olympic team once. You might as well. You can go. You can
Yeah,
go
right.
one night without a little bit of
Right.
sleep.
The thrill of making the team, I mean, we see it from just sort of like the expression on your face and all of the finish line photos. Like, it was just coming down that home stretch. Like, what were the internal thoughts at that point?
Don't fall and just run through the line, because you know I figured that there's going to be people kind of right behind me fighting for that team. I was able to put a little bit more distance on them than I thought at the end there, but once I got over that last barrier clean, that last 50 meters, I was like, yeah, I'm about to be an Olympian.
Did the race play out tactically like you expected going into it?
No, I thought somebody was going to take it, and it just didn't go. Like, I think we were 3 minutes for the first K,
Yeah.
which is shockingly slow. And I've been trying to work on my patience this year. You guys saw my prelim. I wasn't very patient. I kind of just went
Yeah.
to the front. It's okay because it's a prelim, but yeah, coach said no dumb moves. I really wanted to take it, but I was like, I got to live by that. And with 1,200 left, I was like, this wouldn't be that dumb of a move.
How much confidence did you get from that prelim? Because you took that one wire to wire essentially, and you know when you made the big move, like it didn't come as a surprise to the field.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the prelim, I just, running 820 and feeling that good was, I mean, a huge confidence boost and reminded me kind of what I had learned about myself in practice, which is that I think I can run, easily under the standard. I think more in the 812 range right now. And, yeah, just going wire to wire like that and feeling good, I was like, man, if I didn't waste too much energy today, I'm going to be in a really good spot on Sunday.
Because of the pace of that first K, now obviously, we've got guys chasing the standard in the week. It's going to be pretty thrilling, I guess, final couple days, and Evan Jager will be watching very closely kind of those results. But,
Right.
For you, with how the race played out, was there sort of, you see Kenneth make the big move, any thought to all right, I'm going with him?
Yeah, I when he made that move, I was like, I just got to stick as close to him, and he's going to take me to Paris. Because, I thought I made a hard move doing a 63 with 3 out, and then he comes by me going 59, and I was like, wow, yeah, that's world class. When that happened, I was like, there's no way I'm going to beat him, but if I can stay as close to him as possible, I don't think anybody's going to beat us.
And because of that slow pace, obviously, you have full confidence you could run well under the standard. What are the workouts telling you? What are the signs in practice that are telling you what is the potential?
Yeah, I mean, just running 129s in Cottonwood over hurdles for
Wow.
600s, just being able to do that comfortably, that's when I knew kind of, it doesn't have to be a fast race for me to have a chance to win it. I know I can close really well. And yeah.
Were you aware at the time? Were you aware that Hillary Bohr went down, or was there? Did you all kind of see that go down and decide to make the hard move, or was it just kind of all straight ahead and you weren't even aware until after the race?
No, I mean, I knew somebody went down.
Yeah.
I was just ahead of Hillary when that happened, so I didn't realize it was Hillary.
We were trying to figure that out last night. Where we were just like, oh, did Kenneth and you like know that like, oh, one of the top contenders just went down?
Yeah, no, we had no idea. And with 200 left, I looked up at the big screen and I saw Hillary and Bernard were, you know, kind of behind me, and I was like, okay, those are two world-class athletes. We got to go, or else they're going to catch us. I think they went backwards a little bit more than I expected, but yeah.
This season has been magical for you. Just sort of like the progression each time out. Like, what are the biggest things that you credit that to?
I mean, the support I've had from my team and my teammates and all my former teammates and my family, my girlfriends, all of that really has led to a really good, consistent block and staying healthy this year, being able to do 100 to 105 mile weeks up at altitude in Flagstaff. I think just being up at altitude for the first time ever has been a huge difference maker, and yeah, just being able to train professionally and not work on the side or have class or anything to do has been really, really good for it too.
Did your phone blow up essentially yesterday? Because it's like all the communities that you pull like must have been just totally rejoicing last night. The Division III community, the Minnesota community, Flagstaff, your teammates, like so many people probably coming out of the woodwork. People you haven't probably seen or spoken to since like high school either too. Yeah. Yeah,
I still have a lot of work to do to get through all those messages. So sorry if I haven't responded to you. I still love you, but. Yeah, my phone's blowing up, so just haven't really been looking at it so far.
Yeah. After the marathon trials, one thing that I found really interesting was everyone was making just sort of like this big deal about like someone like Dakota Lindworm and just like the athlete that she was in high school. The personal best on paper wouldn't have ever told you like this person's going to go out to become an Olympian.
Right.
I'm curious if someone like you, like what were those high school PRs and, you know, that you've come into it at a much later stage so far in your career, but what were you like in high school?
Yeah, I was like 4:19, 9:15 in high school, so nothing crazy. Yeah, pretty modest, especially nowadays. But yeah, I kind of credit that to like I've got this big lopey stride, and I think I didn't really know how to use it in high school, so I had a lot of verticality. I wasn't really efficient back then, and I kind of was able to, at the D3 level, both start to build mileage and work on that efficiency, and also just learn how to compete and learn how to love the sport to the point of where, you know, just loving the sport enough to where the miles just run themselves and the workouts do themselves. Yeah, it wasn't a great high schooler. I definitely didn't have the right mindset either in high school. I think I was just doing it because I was good at it and I liked being good at something, and it evolved into something where the sport is the love of my life now. So.
Everybody loves, you know, the Cinderella story. I mean, and you were just saying, like, nothing too stand out in high school, and you know, from D3 to now Olympian. At what point did you realize, like, oh, I have a real shot to make this team?
I mean, yeah, last year when I was 6th at this meet, or at the U.S. Championships, that's kind of when I knew, like, okay, I really should give this a real hard try next year and do that full time. I think it was like 2 weeks ago that I hit some good workouts in practice, and I told Sophie, my girlfriend, I was like, I'm going to be an Olympian in 2 weeks. And she's like, don't jinx it. It's like, no such thing as jinxing. Yeah.
Did she book a flight to Paris immediately after that, or I love the stories of, you know, hearing afterwards. It's like, oh yeah, like my parents had already got the Airbnb or the flights to Paris. Like nothing yet, right? From your crowd?
Yeah, nothing yet. My crowd is, like I said, very, very superstitious. So one of my college coaches is here, and he brought out an Olympic flag before the race, and my parents got really mad at him and said, put that away.
Yeah, the Wilkinson crew is a big believer in potential jinxes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, we're Minnesota Vikings fans, so I think it stems from years of pain from that.
Yeah. In the mix zone after the prelim, you know, you gathered around with all of the reporters there, and I brought up Evan as just someone who you looked up to probably as well as like most of that field. And the way that the race shook out, I mean, there's still a chance that he could end up on the team. You were, the endorphins post-race are probably like on 10. And you said something about like, yeah, I like to think of myself as potentially being like the Evan Jager someday.
Yeah.
You've already taken a major step towards that, yesterday. There's still, the medals and all that stuff to come, but a first step is a first step.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think Evan was running like pretty close to A flat at this point in his career. So, but hey, my trajectory is like this right now. So who knows? Maybe in the next couple of years we can get down closer to A flat. But like I said after that interview, Evan Jager is a big hero of mine. If I have the opportunity to be on the team with him, that'd be amazing. Got a lot of crap from my teammates and coaches for having that quote after. They're like, "Come on, man, it's the prelim." Backed it up, sort of. I didn't win yesterday, but I think Kenneth Rooks is crazy, and he's going to go out and run like 8:08 this year and prove people how good he is. So, yeah.
The U.S. steeple guys, I think of the 2012 team and seeing, Don Cabral and Evan just at the front of that race, leading for a couple laps, just racing fearlessly. Just sort of like that history kind of give you like I want to lead the Olympics for a lap or two. That's for coach to come up with the race plan, but getting that airtime would be nice.
It would be pretty cool. I don't think coach likes my front running tendencies, but we'll focus on making the final first.
Yeah.
That's going to be the big goal. Just have as many races out there as possible.
I mean, you look comfortable up there. I mean, you might as well. Screw coach, just take the lead.
Yeah, I mean, the steeplechase, it really does help too to have a good clean
have some
look at the
space to
barriers
run.
and have space. So there's that going for it. So yeah.
Does your foray into the steeple have any sort of interesting story? I know like sometimes people just fall into the event. It's not like, oh, I had it, like the steeple chose me, I didn't choose the steeple. How did it work out for you?
Yeah, I came into Carleton College where I was at for undergrad, and coach said, we want to try this out because we want to try to find something that you can be a national champion in. Little did he know he was talking about U.S. national champion, not just D3 national champion. We gave it a shot that year. I ran like 9:19 my freshman year and felt pretty good about myself for that. I took a solid minute off that over the last few years.
Yeah. Looking at the global landscape of the steeplechase, what do you sort of make of the people that you're going to be up against? It is just a whole nother level up.
Yeah. It's crazy to think about these guys are running in the steeple times that I'm struggling to run in a flat 3K, the global competition is just crazy. But I have hopes that the Americans can be back in that medal conversation again one day, if not this year with Rooks.
Yeah. No, you guys are coming. I believe it for sure.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, goal-wise, I guess at what point do you sit down with coach and it's like, all right, now let's start game planning the Olympics? Was there a talk at the Wild Duck last night, or is it?
I'm sure there was talk at the Duck. Come on.
We're just gonna focus on what's next. So we're gonna try to go run that Diamond League in Paris in a couple weeks.
Nice.
And
First Diamond League.
That would be
seconds
my
off
first
that
Diamond
PR.
League if we can get into that, and hopefully just go out there and run fast first, and then we'll kind of know a little bit better where we're gonna be at going into the Olympics.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Matt, we appreciate you stopping by. The dump truck just arrived, and I think that's our cue.
Cans
to
clanging.
Sign off.
Yeah.
But we appreciate you coming by. Enjoy. Yeah. I think you can get an ice cream at Prince Puckler's downstairs if you tell him you made the team. I think it's on the house.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So if not, then just say just charge it to CITIUS, and
okay,
it'll be all taken care of. But appreciate you stopping by.
And congrats, Matt. Yeah.
Appreciate
Thank
you guys.
Awesome. That does it for CITIUS Mag live from Eugene, day 4. We'll be back in just, once probably the dump truck clears out, we're going to open up this space a little bit, and we're going to do an Old Dogs preview for the men's 1,500 meter final. We're breaking out Mac, Eric, Will Lear's in the house, Angie Weeding, the return of Kyle Merber to the airwaves. Pat Casey will be showing up. And who knows who else we might pull off of the street. I know Nick Willis is across the street sometimes, so we'll see. But that does it for CITIUS MAG live from Eugene. We'll catch you guys a little bit later.
Seems like you've been wasting time trying to find your place in life. You need to get your ducks all in a row. So take some time to understand that life is a race. Ooh, for each and every